Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel. I gave you in the last video, the tree one, get her done, part 4, I think. I gave a sneak peek of this thing that I'm so tickled pink with. It is a flip-flop journal, so it's got 1, 2, 3 signatures this way. It's a concertina style thing, and 2 signatures on the other side. Feels great in the hand, and it uses one 12 by 12 piece of scrapbooking paper. It is the brainchild of Shanuki Art, and I will attempt to link that in the description box. Not the greatest linker in the world, to be honest. Anyway, I have many things that I should and could be doing. But has that stopped me from being sidetracked by this idea? No, it hasn't. So let me get it out of my system and show you. I'll put this one aside. Of course, the decorating still has to be done. Oh, I should point out that the additional piece that a person creates or uses is an envelope right at the beginning. Otherwise, there wouldn't be this spot for the first signature. So, because this is where the actual scrapbooking paper begins. So, yes, I have an envelope doohickey maker thingamajig. But the last time I tried to use it, I realized I've forgotten everything I ever knew. So I just found an envelope that was the right size, which is harder than you may think, even if you've got hundreds of envelopes. And then, of course, I decorated it. So that is the last thing I'm going to say about this, probably, hopefully. So let me show you the next paper that I picked. This is a Stamperia. Let me see if I can quickly find the name of it. It's basically about writers. Oh, brother. So it's got pages like this. Oh, you know what? I probably used the title page. Sorry, can't help it. Anyway, okay, let's get organized moment. So this is an envelope. Now, I had just taken apart a thrifted dictionary, so I had all these little lovely bits of old Scotch tape. So, you know, I could have found the little container where I keep those things. Instead, I just started to use it. So this is, you know, one of the front pages from a dictionary. I just used dictionary page to cover the envelope, and I just kept using either Scotch tape or the pages that had been stained by decades of Scotch tape sitting on them. So this is a pocket. Anyway, this paper has these lovely protea on it. And this is washi tape joining the 2 strips, because when you cut your paper in half length, well, not, I guess like it's not lengthwise, you just cut it in half because it's 12 by 12, so there is no lengthwise. So you have those 2 6-inch high strips, so you need to join them. So I used, you know, kind of a muted floral washi. This is fine, but this is outstanding. So I did try to, it doesn't matter. I think I was going to say I tried to shake it up a bit, not just have one side all on one side and then the other side of this 12 by 12 on the other side. But proteas, if you've ever bought them at a florist, you know that they last absolutely forever. They're stunning. They feel great. And we used to carry them in our, when we had a flower shop, and love them because they have a long shelf life. And even after the fact, like if I have some at home, I just let them dry out and they look great even like that, you know, for a while. Okay, so what I've done since when I've been, you know, working on this is I selected pages and I followed, I wish I knew what the name of the lady is that does Chinooki art. It's, begins with S, but anyway, I put together, I'm following her instructions or her recommendations. Somewhere here I've got it. So basically we end up with 5 signatures, and she suggested 10 pages per signature, and in my first prototype that works fine. So I'll just give you a quick look at probably one signature, tell you what it is. So this is avocado dyed, some sort of grid paper. And I basically, look at me using up stuff I have instead of continuing to hoard it. These are basically chapter headings, dividers, whatever, from an old book, and very little on them other than that. And I thought, well, that basically falls in the spine, so that's not going to interfere. Because I wanted something that is just, and this is just plain old pink typing, like copy paper that I have. This is, I don't know what this is. Oh, this could be a, you know, that tissue that they put over plates in some old books, you know, to protect them. So basically, this is quite boring. This is coffee or tea dye. But I wanted it to be basically that. So you can see they all look similar. Oh, I guess the only difference is maybe in this one I used, again, using something I already have, a first day issue. And I glued down anything that was lifting and so on, and cut the top open so it will be a, that's not where I got it from. Was it here? So it will be top loading pockets. Okay, so what I thought I would do, since it's been a while since I've done a 3-hole pamphlet stitch demo, I thought I could do that. I'd get this, I'd scratch this itch that I have, and yeah, if you're maybe still a bit nervous or have never tried a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, maybe this will help. So I, on my first one, I'll just bring it back in here. I, of course, always push my luck with the width of the paper. And I had a heck of a lot of trimming and folding to do. So I thought, okay, try a little harder this time, Hazel, and maybe there will be less of that remedial stuff that you need to do. Because all of these things are the same size, I'm going to reuse this template that I made. Basically just a piece of cardstock. Very simple. It's each section is only 1 signature, so that should work well. On the first one, and again on this one, I'll be using embroidery thread, and I use it full strength. I use it 6 strands, just because number one, it'll be stronger, obviously, but it will also, you know, it'll be more noticeable. Oh, let me find a needle. I did go through my needles a bit and just, you know, kind of whittled it down to, that one's pretty thick, whittled it down to just a few. Need a big enough eye for that should do. a big enough eye for the thread, but not something that's going to make gigantic holes either. I have a couple of awls here in front of me. I don't remember which one I used the other day. This is an antique, obviously, and it's a bit tapered, so the hole, depending how far I go in, the hole will get bigger. Okay. So the typical, like if I were doing a journal, right, you know, with a multi-signature thing, I probably would not start on the first one. I don't know if that's, I don't think that's really superstition, but it's, you know, if something is, if you've made a miscalculation of some sort, maybe it's better that it be one further down in the project. So you can see that my template is flush top and bottom with the size of this paper. Now, I think I've told you before, my husband did, or maybe I should use this one, did early on make me, oh, see, I'm just holding it in place because really, at this point, what could go wrong? Maybe I spoke too soon. It's one hole through one layer of paper. Pretty hard to miss the boat on that. Ah, dear. Might as well keep going and do them all. I did mark the word top at the top because it would be easy to, flip it upside down and not know. Oh, I started to say my husband built me a book cradle, and let there not be blood. Maybe it won't bleed all over my paper. Like everything else that he does, he overbuilt it. It's very heavy and kind of unwieldy. And when a person, you know, has a little bit more experience under your belt, you don't quite, you know, you don't agonize quite as much. So if you're not in the category of having experience under your belt, trust me that it will come. So I've just flipped over the concertina to the other side and am now doing those holes as well. Now, most people, if they don't have a, you know, fancy schmancy book cradle, will at least have a phone book or a thicker thing that they can use to help kind of hold the paper in this position. I don't think I'm having an issue with this, so I'm just going to carry on. Okay, that's my fifth set of holes. Now, to the other thing, if you feel the need, and it's probably a good thing, and I probably should have done it too, is clip it top and bottom just to make sure there is no slippage. So let's thread this needle. Oh, I've got little birds helping me here today. They're so cute. Those are something that I want to incorporate into the tree journals, and I have used them sparingly so far. Typically I cut the length off, but since this is just a started skein, I probably won't do that. Okay, so I said you probably don't want to start with the beginning. And again, because this is got a lot more moving parts than you would in a normal, like if this was just a cover, these two pieces, then you wouldn't have all this flopping around. So just my suggestion is get it out of the way. So I think I'll just give this a quick once over. My pages are more uniform this time. If I had a variety of sizes, I would be especially careful. What's going on here? Oh, I have two of those back to back. I probably don't want that. Especially careful to stagger their positioning. Like if something was really narrow, well, maybe I intended to have them back to back. If I had a really narrow one, okay, so this one is clearly narrower than this one. So I basically want to make sure that, that two, at least a minimum of two of these things will be caught by the stitching. And quite often, just to spread out the bulk a bit, a person would also sort of, if you had multi-pages that were different heights, you'd kind of stagger them a bit so that, whoa, I just about lost all my paper clips. You would stagger them a bit so that they don't, so you don't have all the bulk in the same place. Let's get a few more of these out and then I can put this away. Now, I have nothing here that is printed, so I don't have to worry or double check that, oh, I've put in a page upside down. Trust me, I've done that. Now you can see that this template is now longer than the pages, than even the tallest pages, and that's simply because we want our pages to fit within the confines of the cover. So basically I'm just eyeballing and trying to split the difference between the two sides. I'm just putting my clips on this cardboard, on this template, so that it's serving two purposes. It's holding this all together, holding all the pages together, but it's also making sure that nothing slips while I am doing the holes. And you can see it's a little easier than what you saw me do a while ago because I've got the added security of the clips. So don't feel that you need to try to wing it and do it without, because that's no need for that. I always want, well, I'd say 9.5 times out of 10 I want my threads to be inside, so I start on the inside, because wherever you start, that's where your tail is going to be. I typically, I start in the center hole, almost, I think without thinking, I go to the top. Go to the top, then I go all the way to the bottom. Boy, this needle is sharp. I may yet draw blood before this is over. And then finally you go back through the same center hole. Now this sharp needle, of course, is challenging in one sense that you try very hard not to split that thread that's there. because then it's going to make the tightening of the thread harder. I think I have dodged the bullet there. Now that is probably too long. You know what I should do? Why don't I get this out of the way instead of having it flop around here? Whoops. So yeah, that's too long, but probably, oh, I'm doing the opposite of what I want. You have, you know, a little bit of play time here. You know what? Why am I doing that? It's a couple inches of embroidery thread. Silly woman. Okay, so I learned this wherever, probably from a book, to pull snugly in the opposite direction. Scissors would be good. And then, of course, once you have it, the tension good, one knot, another knot in the other direction, and there you go. Sometimes, well, I've got the thread, goodness knows, I will do a third knot. I'm going to cut these short because I don't think with a concertina we need the additional issue of a whole bunch of threads flapping around. Okay, signature done. Now, it never hurts. Like, I'm not one of those people that folds multiple pages at a time when I'm prepping my signatures. So I think I get a pretty darn crisp fold just, you know, by doing them singly. But it never hurts to give it, you know, help flatten it out a bit. So let us move now to this one. And I'll just clip those two together. And probably those two together, so that I have just that center thing to worry about. Okay. Yep, my holes are there. I can almost see them. Again, we're going to, and I'm not going to do all 5 of these because goodness knows you don't need to see that. So I'm just going to, again, give this a quick once over. Now, I did end up using some pages like this that do have, you know, a bit of text on them. See, I was originally saving these papers to use them for backing. I also used ones that are kind of in sad shape, but hey, that's okay. Now that one is going that way, that one is going that way. So let's pretend we had a plan and just switch that around. I'll do this second signature just in case you are on the edge of your seat watching this skillful demonstration. And then I'll show you the papers I picked for the third little thing that I'm doing. Okay, template, top, centered, clipped. Now, I suppose that if a person was doing many, excuse me, many more of these, it would probably be a good idea to, excuse me, there is so much smoke, forest fire smoke in the air today, blowing in from British Columbia and the Northwest Territories. Anyway, I was saying that if I was doing many more of these, I would probably at some point make a new template just so that the hole doesn't get too sloppy, and make you know, then you kind of you're not as accurate anymore. Okie dokie, let's thread again. if you haven't tried this little project, then I hope that you do. It's a great way to use up beautiful, or maybe not so beautiful, cardstock. It's when you're needing 50 pieces of paper, it's also a nice way to, I'm just going to try to avoid having as much and they're so darn cute, and they feel so good in your hand. Okay, so remember I came up in the middle hole. Now I'm going in through the top one. You see what I'm doing here? I would be sewing my template in. That is a no-no. Can I do this without having to... I said it's a very easy process. Remove the darn template after you've made the holes. Okay, let's give this another shot. Yeah, don't be afraid to, maneuver this thing. Like, really, nothing is going to happen. If you need to peek behind there and to line up the holes and get, that's far better than turning your pages or your spine into a pincushion and realizing that you've torn some holes. Or so do what you need to do to make the job as effective and hassle-free as possible. Gently work your needle out. Oh, see? Aren't you glad I'm making these mistakes? Okay, let's get this thread off this needle. You see how I split the thread there? So hopefully I can pull this one back. Oops. Still have a little problemo there. See, that little stray guy will be a problem. So do what you need to do to fix it. Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay, finally. Okay, I'm still right set up. Good, good. Now, you must, I didn't stress this last time because it wasn't, it's always an issue, but it wasn't a problem. You must have each of these, you must have one of these pieces on either side of the center thread. Otherwise, you will not successfully sew this closed. So again, I'm pulling in opposite directions to make sure it's good and tight. I'm tying one knot, a second knot in the opposite direction, and then a third one. Just for the heck of it. Okay. Give this a quick little burnish, and then I'll show you the other pages. So I think I'm going to be hard-pressed to decide which of these is my favorites and which I want to keep for myself. So you can see she's filling up. We've got 2 out of 5 done, and I will do this on my own time from here on out. Okay, let me quickly show you the other one. And then the papers I've selected. Now well, I hope you know that I love rusty stuff. And rust and that shade of blue is just perfect in my little humble opinion. Again, washi tape connection. Oops, sorry, on both sides. Now the other side of that paper is this, which is also nice. But because they're quite different, I chose to keep one side one way and the other side the other way. When you do your initial cutting and scoring, you end up with a 2-inch piece that you cut off. Now, in every case so far, let me show you. I did start covering another envelope. I'm using the the taped up dictionary pages again. And so far I've just got the lining done. And maybe everybody knows this. Maybe this isn't one of those sliced bread kind of inventions. But suppose I was wanting to line that envelope. And I'm just kind of doing it, not all the way down. So I have struggled to get the shape right. So what I now do is, okay, if I know that I'm, sorry, I'm telling you the wrong thing. I'm telling you something good, but at the wrong time. So this isn't a problem really, because this is a fairly big opening. Let me give a little dab of glue here. This is a fairly big opening. I didn't feel the need to get it all the way to the bottom of the envelope. I will show you in there that I've sort of trimmed off the corners because I just used a glue stick. So you've got this gluey, sticky piece of paper, and you're trying to get it in there, and it wants to stick to that, and your hand is in the way. It just seemed to me easier to not have it binding this side and this side with the corners. So, and that isn't going to be visible by the time I'm done with this. Okay, so then pretend that I am continuing to cover this envelope. And I'm going, like I said, I'm going to continue using dictionary pages. So, suppose I want a piece there. I probably cut off that margin, whatever. Anyway, I will stick it in here. Well, let's use the straight edge. I'll stick it in there. I know it's all hitting the bottom. I will take a pencil and trace the shape. And just for the heck of it, I'll do this as big as I'm showing you here. So I cut on that line, and of course, because I'm doing pencil, if my cutting is slightly out or whatever, I just can erase. And for those of you who love to ink everything in sight, now is that not the cat's meow? Let me show you. Now, suppose my piece of paper was smaller, and maybe my first piece of paper only took me up to here. Well, then I would do it again with the next piece of paper. So maybe I'd have 3 pieces here. But regardless, you just keep putting it in there and essentially making yourself a template. Because the shape of every envelope is slightly different. Anyway, I was starting to say I was talking to you about this. Get rid of the pens. So, oh, and this needs to be glued down, so I might as well do that while we're talking. Another trick of mine is to offset my notch, my finger hole for a pocket, because that way no one can say, oh, she's slightly off. Well, she is slightly off, but she didn't center her notch. Okay, so that's the pocket. This is the sort of the leading edge of the book. So this, once I've got it covered, because it's just easier to work on it without this other contraption here, it will be, oh, let me show you one other thing. I see I need to glue that down better. If you don't kind of cover this fold, and I thought I was pretty safe doing it because this is very thin paper. Normally you would never want to glue anything over a fold, excuse me, because it just makes it harder to fold. But if you don't, if you just butt it up close to the fold, then make sure you ink. That's what I ended up having to do on the first one. Anyway, so this is going to be, let me crisp up this fold again. This is going to, where am I here? Be glued on here and become the cover. Now, there's no need in the world to have such a gigantic thingamajig here, so I just, in a very crooked way, cut that surplus off. And then, because I don't want to cover this up and I don't want to put dictionary page there, I will use this. I'll cut another notch in this, and I will, using one side or the other, create another side pocket here that will also cover up the mechanism of this envelope flap. So that's what I've been doing with my 2-inch pieces. Now, depending on how you're decorating yours, you may choose to do something entirely different. Okay, so this is how this is going to be, blah, blah, blah. You see all that. I have kind of stuck in the pocket. These are just lightweight paper tags, but certainly this rusty color would be lovely there, as would some of the others. So I'm just kind of keeping it intact so I remember to use that. Now, quickly show you, oh, this is the embroidery thread, a couple different colors here that I picked for sewing these signatures in. I will decide, I guess, when the time comes. So there's that. And then I did these signature pages today. So some of these are a tailor-made journal kit called Gilded Grunge, if I'm not mistaken. And I love them. And I did some sort of a portfolio type thing using them. But let me just show you one signature for the heck of it. Okay, so there's that. Now, I have a lot of papers folded back because I didn't want to do any trimming after the fact when I find that they're sticking out of the booklet, out of the concertina. So I folded things back. Now, they may be narrower than they need to be, but that's okay. I'm sure that many of these I will end up gluing closed because it is quite a flappy kind of thing. Got some dyed ledger paper. This is just copy paper that I have that lends itself to a lot of these projects. This is a gel print of mine. Oh, this is some... I had big sheets of this paper, and I guess I had used them in an art class for gesture drawing, so I thought, well, I mean, let's use them. What am I going to save them for? I think that's parchment paper. This is one of my papers. In case you can't tell, those are gigantic rusty links from a really heavy chain. So if you got your cultivator stuck in the mud and you needed a tractor to pull yourself out, you would use a chain that big. That's another one of the Lorna papers. And then this, I had some of these pages from those books. Now those are lovely too. You can see that. But I chose instead to sew them together. And since this is always as much about what not to do as it is what to do, I forgot to check my stitch length. And you can see that here they're, oh my goodness, they are crazy small. It has kind of, oh, you know, not how, I mean, it's perforated that. So then I switched to a bigger stitch, and then I think I even went bigger on the next piece. But so I will, for now, I'm going to leave that as is. This will be in here, and there will be 2 top loading pockets. Now, of course, because this is now in a weakened state, this is maybe where a person glues on some of this dried up old masking tape that I salvaged from a book spine, or washi tape, or a tab, or, you know, there are countless, no matter what the mistake, there are countless ways around fixing it. Maybe just show you a couple more papers. This is also one of my papers, and it is a photo of my padlock collection. This is part of a masterboard I was working on that I've photocopied. Oh, some brown paper. So in a case like this, well, yeah, see, on this, I'll still, no matter where I position this brown paper, up, down, I will still be able to catch at least 2, make at least 2 holes in it. Another one of those papers. Don't know if I have anything else extraordinary to show you. Oh, I'll show you this. This is a bag from Wendy. Is that Wendy's? Yeah, Wendy's. That I covered with tea bags. So it's kind of textural and it's kind of grubby enough to fit in here. Oh, this is just some really nice paper, like a, you know, a package of paper. It kind of is a little bit, got a little bit of brown and a little bit of gray. So great color. Oh, and another one of the postal first day issues. I'm using this one because that color of stamp there. What else? More paper. I think you've probably seen. Oh, this is another one of my papers. It is screen, a big, like probably at least 4 by 8 in size. Whoops. Screen from a gravel crusher. Okay, there you have it, my lovelies. So now that I have shown you this, I can carry on doing this in my own sweet time. But it also gives me another video for my channel and kind of forces me to get on with getting a bit more content on my channel. So this is the first of several videos I hope to be doing today. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, I will bring up the whole subscribing bit. We're still scratching and clawing our way to 500 subscribers. I was just looking for this. I have promised a nice giveaway when we hit that mark. So, of course, one of the qualifying factors will be being a subscriber. So that's one good reason, if no other, to hit the subscribe button. And yes, of course, likes and comments are always welcome. You guys don't know how often your comments make me smile or laugh out loud, because you're a funny bunch. You're a helpful bunch. You're a kind bunch. So if those qualities describe you, I'd love to have you join us. Anyway, that's it for today. If you, like I said, I will attempt to link the Shanuki art video, but if I can't, then I'll at least mention her name in her channel name, and it will be easy for you to find because it was done probably in the last week or so. And it's the Flip Flop Journal. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.